I just want to say welcome to everyone who's joining. And we'll wait for some people to join. My name is Dave Scriven-Young. I'm an attorney in Chicago, Illinois, and this is the Lawyers Emotional Intelligence Book Club. So welcome. I'm broadcasting live from my home office in Naperville, Illinois. And we'll just wait just one more minute. And again, to everyone who joined, thank you for joining the my first. Oh, I lost it. Oh, now I'm back. All right, this is cool. So again, this is my first time ever periscoping, so I just want to welcome everyone who is joining me online. Again, my name is Dave Scriven-Young. I'm a Chicago attorney, uh, filming out of my home office here in Naperville, Illinois. This is the Lawyers Emotional Intelligence Book Club. So thanks for joining me tonight. This is going to be fun. First time I ever did this. So let me just talk about sort of what the book club is all about. This is the introductory session, session number 1, if you will. Hopefully we'll have a lot more sessions after this. But basically what the idea for this came about because of the dramatic changes in the legal profession. And I don't think I really have to explain, if you're a lawyer, you know what I'm talking about. We're in the age of a digital transformation. And really, there was an article in the ABA Law Practice magazine recently, and the quote that I saw was "adapt or die." And basically, what they were getting at is that really we've had some advances in technology that is serving to commoditize what attorneys are doing. We've seen this in things like legal research and e-discovery, things like legal blogs. Basically, what consumers can do, and a lot of in-house corporate business executives, they can go online and get a lot of the answers that lawyers can give. They can go to LegalZoom, for example, and consumers can get a will. They can also get some basic corporate documents created. Before this technological revolution, certainly lawyers created all of these documents before LegalZoom, before things like Google Scholar, where you can basically go online and search up the law. And even a lot of lawyers ourselves put out a tremendous amount of content, and a lot of that is to advertise. And simply, when we put that stuff out there, and I think we should. I do it on my own blog. A lot of the times that businesses can go online and say, hey, I know this legal issue now. I can understand it. And maybe I don't need a lawyer, or maybe I do need a lawyer for certain circumstances. So technology has really has really changed the face and how people view our profession. The other thing that has occurred is that our clients are changing. Um, Now we have millennials who are becoming clients, either as consumers or as business folks. And certainly they are expecting different things than Generation X or certainly the boomer generation. And this is a study from AVO, which is the question and answer website that has really come about and again revolutionized our industry. They did a recent study of millennial clients and what they expect. And what they're expecting is alternative fee arrangements. And I saw a lot of things on Twitter, a lot of comments on Twitter today about, is 2017 going to be the year that fixed fee billing is going to replace hourly billing? And certainly, I don't think that's going to happen this year. But certainly, millennial clients are going to be expecting that more and more. And so that's something that we're going to have to fulfill with our clients. Also, millennial clients want to be more involved in their cases. I think a lot of times baby boomer clients or perhaps corporations were um, more gave attorneys and their outside counsel more leeway to do what they thought should be done with their case, and while they wanted updates, certainly didn't expect to be involved on a day-to-day basis with their case. Millennial clients now want that. They also want their lawyers to be more authentic and more compassionate. And that goes right in line with emotional intelligence and what we're going to talk about today. So, how does studying emotional intelligence help attorneys meet that changing landscape of the law? Emotional intelligence is the ability to identify and manage your own emotions and the emotions of others. And so it's generally said to contain three different skills. First of all, your emotional awareness, which includes the ability to identify your own emotions and the emotions of others. Two, the ability to harness emotions and apply them to things like critical thinking and problem solving. And then the third is the ability to manage emotions, including the things such as regulating your own emotions and the ability to cheer up or calm down another person. So how does that translate into what EQ or emotional intelligence can do for attorneys? Well, again, things like intrapersonal skills such as self-awareness or stress management, resiliency. Second would be interpersonal skills, things like empathy, communication skills, counseling, mentoring and managing other folks. Third would be conflict resolution skills, such as mediation and negotiation skills. Fourth would be things like teamwork and collaboration skills. The fifth would be problem solving. And the sixth would be strategic planning. All of these things are going to help us to adapt into this new technological age where not only is technology changing, where our services are being commoditized, but also our clients are expecting different things. So I haven't said much about myself, and you're probably wondering, well, why is this person interested in emotional intelligence? Well, let me explain a little bit about myself. So as I think I said before, I'm a trial attorney in Chicago, Illinois. My practice areas are varied. I started as an environmental lawyer at a big firm. And have transferred now to a smaller firm, Baccar and Abramson, where I practice commercial litigation, employment law, construction law, and still some environmental law. Graduated from law school in 2003, so I'm still a relatively young lawyer. And I have a degree, or I should say, I got my law degree from DePaul University, and I got my BA in political science and history from Marquette in Milwaukee. And I'm really interested in the future of the law and how we can adapt. But I should say, if I'm going to be authentic, and we're talking about authenticity and honesty here, I really had this taste or thirst for the future of the law thrust upon me. I was one of those attorneys, like many attorneys back in 2009, that got laid off in the economic recession. And I really had a tough time. And it's interesting when I think about it, going back. So when I started at this big firm, I remember going into this big conference room. It was a associates meeting with, I think it was the managing partner of the Chicago office, and I still remember to this day. And I think it's because of what happened later on. But I certainly remember walking into that meeting, and the key thing, the key takeaway that I remember is, and this is obviously prior to the recession, is they said. A, the key thing for associates is you don't have to bring a business. You don't have to worry about it. Your only thing that you have to worry about is bringing in clients. Or that's completely wrong. What they said is what you need to do is bill hours, not worry about bringing in clients. And that really stuck to me to this day, because at the time it made a lot of sense. Things were going very well with the large law firm, and certainly, we didn't have to worry about clients. We had big institutional clients who were keeping us very busy. We were billing a lot of hours. We were getting great bonuses, and at the same time, we didn't have to worry about things. And then a year and a half later, the whole economy was in distress. Companies were going out of business. Large companies were going out of business. Law firms were in deep trouble. And as a result, because the profits were not as high as what they were in the past, clients were not giving us as much business as they could, they started laying off people. And that was, support staff, paralegals, and certainly attorneys. And I got through, 2 or 3 rounds of layoffs, and finally, my number was up. And I came out of that having, found another job, thinking to myself, how can I better prepare myself for the coming economic realities? Because things have changed, and certainly, if certainly we didn't know it back then, we certainly know it now. People have a very hard time getting jobs. People have a very hard time getting clients. And so one of the things that we need to figure out is, and I thought about it at the time and certainly do now, how are we going to adapt going forward? How am I going to adapt my practice going forward? And one of the ways that we can do that is through emotional intelligence. One other thing that I should mention, not only am I doing this as a result of economic realities, but also, and there's been a huge push these days about professionalism and ethics, and how attorneys can better be professional in their dealings with other attorneys and their clients. Now, why is there such a big push now? And certainly I think in the past it was a problem, but I think it's even more of a problem now. In the past couple of years, I certainly have had my fair share of dealing with, what I would call bad actors, people who are certainly unprofessional in the deposition room or the trial setting, even in courtroom. Attorneys can be unprofessional. I was just finished a trial in the last 2 months, and I certainly remember sitting. I was second chairing the trial, and we were at closing arguments. And throughout this whole trial, our opposing attorney was basically very loud and demeaning, and this is all on a bench trial. It's not even like they were trying to persuade a jury that, they were the plaintiffs, so obviously they thought they had some righteous indignation, and they wanted their client to be compensated for what they thought was wrong. And I totally get that. But throughout the trial, throughout the whole litigation, we had folks on the other side who were a little bit demeaning, unprofessional, and so I've certainly had my, suffice it to say, and I know people who are online as well have had your own fair share of attorneys who have acted unprofessionally. And so the question in my mind, in sort of starting this and framing the issue with these bad actors, is well, can we change those people? Can we take the people, the bad actors who are acting unprofessional in deposition or courtroom, can we help them to be more professional? I think that answer is probably no. Unfortunately, I don't think the type of person who is demeaning in a deposition room or demeaning at trial, I don't think that they are probably going to be um, watching this Periscope live stream. What I think this emotional intelligence is going to do is going to help us, the people who are watching, people who are reading the materials in the book club. And the reason why is we have to set ourselves up for, I think one of the words I said before was resiliency. We have to understand when we're faced with a bad actor or we're faced with a stressful situation, what do we do? And the question is, how do we remain resilient and how do we react to the situation and how do we manage our emotions? And I'm just stopping briefly because I see that my chat has been limited, and I guess I'll have to try to fix that for the next time that I do this broadcast. So I apologize if you can't chat along with me. That was sort of the main reasons for doing this, so we can have a discussion. Let's see if I can figure out. Well, if you can chat and you're in the room, please feel free to chime in. I'm not sure. Obviously it's my first time doing this, so we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here, but I will try to find out what's going on with the chat for next time. So anyway, so I want to prepare ourselves for stressful situations and be resilient in the light of these bad actors and this technology. So how is our book club going to work? Well, a lot of the times, if you hear podcasts and such, basically they go through one book in one setting, which to me is very difficult to do. And the reason why is that you miss sort of the fine details and you miss the application of the principles to your life. And that's what we're going to try to do here. We're going to take a deep dive into books that will help us develop our emotional intelligence skills and specifically think about how we can begin to use these skills in our law practices. So for each book, we're going to read a chapter a week and then discuss them on a live stream. And then again, I'm going to try to figure out this chatting function. I'm not sure why I'm unable to view your chats. I don't know if anyone is chatting out there, but if you're trying to, I apologize, and I certainly will try to get it fixed for next time. During each episode, basically I'm going to do what I do today. I'm not going to, hopefully not ramble on like I'm doing now in my first attempt at doing this. But I'll do a short presentation about what was covered in each chapter and what I think is going to be important and how lawyers can apply the skills from the books into our law practice. And then where you fit in, once I get the chat fixed, is to give your comments and opinions on how we can put these concepts into practice. And I certainly don't sit here as an expert by any stretch of the imagination. As I said, I graduated law school in 2003, I've only been practicing for a relatively short period of time. I'm only 38 years old, so relatively short time on the earth. So for everyone out there and interested in this topic, I really encourage you to submit your comments to chat and to let me know how you think we can, as a team here, build emotional intelligence into our law practices. And I look forward to hearing from all of you. So as I begin to wrap up, let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do next week. And again, what we're going to do is not necessarily a book, and so it's a little bit of a tease, I guess. We're going to do an article. We're going to read an article from the Santa Clara Law Review, and it's called "Expanding the Lawyer's Toolkit of Skills and Competencies: Synthesizing Leadership, Professionalism, Emotional Intelligence, Conflict Resolution, and Comprehensive Law." And the author is Susan Dakoff, a professor from the Arizona Summit Law School. She's been thinking about this for a very long time. And essentially what she is trying to do is have lawyers understand themselves. And actually her book in 2004, Lawyer, Know Thyself, is basically going to be a great introduction into emotional intelligence, how the principles can be put into law practice, and also, and she's thinking as an academic, how academia, specifically law schools, can really help train law students on these emotional intelligence principles and how they can be utilized in law school, and then also once folks pass a bar and get into law practice. So I'm not going to read her whole biography. What I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage you to join the Facebook group that I've set up for this book club. It's at facebook.com/lawyersEQ, so LAWYERSEQ. And that's going to be a great place for me to put messages up about emotional intelligence, and specifically put up ideas about how we're going to discuss the materials in the book, or in this case, the law review article that we're going to read. It's a pretty short law review article, by the way. And also, so join that Facebook group, and then continue to follow me on my Twitter account, twitter.com/ILEnvirolaw-blog, and we'll go from there. I really enjoyed doing this. Sorry for some of the technical difficulties as we go forward, and as I have more time, I certainly will clean it up a little bit, and so I apologize for that. I know people watching Periscope expect a certain quality or not, and so I certainly respect your time, and I thank you for being here. So in my Twitter posts and on the Facebook group, I put that we're going to have all of our live streams on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central. We're actually going to be now moving to Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Central. I have two kids, Henry and Charlie, a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old, so they keep me very busy, and I actually have a conflict that I forgot about when I put that out there on Tuesday. So Tuesdays I can't do, but certainly Wednesdays we'll do that going forward. So the next broadcast will be Wednesday, January 11th at 7 p.m. Central. And I just want to thank all of you for being here and for all of your time. And if you have any questions or anything you want to discuss with me, or any tips on how to better do this Periscope thing, please email me. My personal email account is probably the best account to reach me at. It's Scriven-Young without the hyphen at gmail.com. So it's DSCRIV as in Victor ENYOUNG at gmail.com. So this has actually been pretty fun, and I'm sorry about the limited interaction that we've been able to have, but I look forward to interacting with you sometime again in the future, and certainly on Wednesday, January 11th at 7 p.m. Central. So I'm going to sign off now. Thank you all so much for your time. Have a great evening.